Jasper.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'll first give a little introduction about ourselves. I'm Jasper. I'm a second-year electrical engineering student at TU Delft. I honestly because of this competition, I really got into quantitative finance. I've also been into machine learning a lot, developing LLMs, LSTM models for time series regressions predictions. Just tinkering around a bit with projects like that. Also tinkering a bit of day trading, having like a P&L on that. Then I'll give the word to Thomas to introduce himself.
Yeah, hello everyone. First, excuse me for my awful French accent. I'm not used to speak English to a lot of people right now. So I'll do my best to be understandable. So I'm a fresh student from an engineering school in France named CentraleSupélec. I'm not sure you don't know, and it's okay. Studying major in mathematics and machine learning. So very focused on AI, to be honest. I've started my own startup with 3 other students of my school based on computer vision and healthcare. I could talk a bit more about it if you want to in the Q&A. Apart from that, a few projects in finance, such as Jasper, my own bot, and for sure the Prosperity competition.
All right, perfect. Before we start, I want to talk a little about our team. We all met each other because of the Discord server from Prosperity. We found each other via messages there. We clicked very well and just made a team, and we're still great buddies after the competition. So it was great. One thing I also want to, we already got the whole introduction, luckily. We managed to stay top 5 at the end of both phases. So we were basically top of the leaderboard for the complete competition. Well, without further ado, let's get to the more exciting part of this presentation. And we can go to the next slide. I just want to introduce a little bit what we're going to be talking about today. We're just going to talk about what actually Prosperity for entails, what the format is, what we used, how we modeled our fair value for all the different assets, the different goods. Then we're going to talk about all the different rounds. We first will talk about all the algorithmic rounds. After that, we'll talk about all the manual rounds. As you can see on the presentation, they all had a few different key aspects. The competition format itself, you had 2 challenges each round. There was an algorithmic challenge where you had to, you got a historical data set of around 3 days for a few assets. Based on that data, you needed to find statistical significances, correlations, anything you could to basically create a Python trader strategy with just the basic libraries that traded each asset. And while the goal was to get as high as the P&L as possible. Then you had the manual challenge. These were basically optimization problems, game theory problems, like calculating stuff and estimating the best what other people will actually do for those challenges. I think the main the main challenge of Prosperity is the time pressure. The qualification round, the first 2 rounds, are 72 hours each. And for the final rounds, they are 48 hours each, which is incredibly short to actually create a good strategy, which means we were, all 5 of us, we were a team of 5 people. All 5 of us were basically working around the clock, clocking like 4 hours of sleep each night to complete these rounds, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I want to talk a little bit our development structure. We basically just set up a GitHub repo where we first forked Jmerle's backtester. It's a backtester that one of the most successful participants across previous Prosperity competitions has made and shared locally on GitHub, or open source it, I mean. We made some improvements to this, mainly adding our actual assets for the competition, and extending it a little bit to fit our custom dashboard, as we made our own dashboard, also based on Jmerle's visualizer. It basically just had a whole page of any order book price, fair value, all those kind of indicators. And we had a second page where we could analyze different trades, different assets, different graphs against each other to find, basically find some correlations, things, some obvious things, to just look at the big picture. We mainly used it at the end to test our simulated strategies. Since you were able to test your Python strategies in a simulated environment of like 1,000 data points against the final round calculation, which was 1 million data points. Furthermore, we also used a lot of Jupyter notebooks. These were just really easy to quickly create tests, find correlations. They were just really nice and really iterative to work in, and they were a lot faster than using the whole backtester and dashboard. Which gets me to our next slide, our backtester philosophy. It was really nice to have. It was good to test strategies and see, okay, this strategy will not work anyway. It was really nice to check, okay, this strategy, this could be profitable. Something you really, really had to look out for was overfitting. A lot of teams, like I think, especially the final round, I think like 80% of the teams have overfit their data simply because they used their local backtester too much. The testing data that was available in the web tester, the actual simulator of IMC, was like data that was present in historical data. So you only had your historical data to go on. And while you can like train neural networks, make strategies that look insanely good on paper in your historical data, but once new data gets introduced, it really does not work anymore. So we basically just use it as a check. If it fails locally, like on our backtester, we don't use it anyway. If it does pass, okay, that could be something. But if it suddenly gave us like multiple millions of P&L, that was most likely overfitting. So that was something to really watch out for. Overfitting is a big thing in this competition. Right, then we go to the next slide. Then to go to our fair value modeling, we also got this from like previous years write-ups, which I really recommend doing, by the way, during the preparation phase. If you want to compete in Prosperity, just look at all the write-ups from previous years to check, to check what they did, how they did things. Just learn from them. You can really learn a lot from them. One of the things we expand upon is the wall mid, as we call it. It's basically the fair value, the best fair value estimation we found, which also really worked according to the actual fair value estimation the IMC website tester used. I'll get in a bit into how we test this. Basically, what the wall mid is, instead of using a normal fair value estimation, just calculating midpoint between sell and buy, and in the ask and a bid, we just we go into the deeper order book levels, and we grab like the furthest most value of the bid side and the ask side. So maybe in like the second level, you had a order that was like way larger than the rest. This turned out to be the best way to calculate fair value, which we also tested by like just putting no orders in, just a single order at the beginning, tracking the fair value in the web tester, and then checking it against the wall mid, and it turned out to be exactly the same. And as you can see in the picture here, while the differences are not that huge, there are just a few small differences between just a normal mid price and our wall mid. This just helps fair value. This just gets you that extra few percent P&L. All right, then we can get...
Also, if I can add something on the fair value, because I don't know if anyone know it, but fair value were used by us not for our strategy, because a lot of strategies in the Prosperity were about market making, when you basically put order on the market and you want people to take them because you then take the spread between the ask and the bid. And to do that, you want a fair value, which is kind of a mid price, but that updates better than the raw mid price between the best bid and best ask. And to do that, we use the whole mean. So to give a bit of context.
Yeah, exactly. All right, then a quick note on our research loop. We first observed. We looked at notebooks, at dashboards, at just any pictures to see any obvious things. Once we look at them, then we look at things we could guess. Okay, maybe this is it. Maybe there could be correlation between these assets. Maybe it's mean reverting. Well, those are then our hypotheses. Then we formally we formalize them. So we try to calculate it. Is it true? Does it fit? We validate it in and out of sample. So we do, for example, we take 2 days of data, fit a model on that, test something on that, and then test it on the 3rd day of data to see if it survives out of sample. And well, once we know something works, like a lot of the assets were mean reverting, for example, we execute it in our strategy. We base risk limits on it. We set a fair value of 10K, for example, and we base it on that. Basically, is that we observe, we think of stuff that could possibly be present. Like we think of everything. That's one of the big things. Even if you think you found the best thing, you just spend your time doing more and more, trying to test every single possibility you can think of. And well, you do it according to the research loop. All right. Okay. Then we can go to the next one. Yeah. Then we go to our first round. In the first round, they introduced 2 assets. As you can see from the pictures here, these are graphs, not graphs, plots of the bid and ask and the wall mid price of the different assets. The left one is ash-coded osmium, as I said it. It contained a large spread between the ask and buy section. It had a slow mean reversion, which you cannot, we can slightly see it on this picture, but over the whole sample, you can clearly tell that it was going up and down, but it always had a line it reverted back to. And we also had the Interior pepper root, which just, while having minor deviations, it always steadily, every time tick, it always had an upward drift of 0.1 XIREC per tick, which it also had an average spread of 14. Both assets, you could only take a maximum position, absolute position of 80. You wanted to, as Thomas explained earlier, to market make, so you wanted to capture the spread. So for that, you needed the fair value modeling. So you want to, for example, buy a bid and then sell it at an ask to jump the spread, basically just earn money that way. If we can get to the osmium strategy, we used a inventory adjusted AS style market maker. We calculated the fair value for osmium to be around 10K. In all of the historical data, this was basically just a constant. It was always mean reverting around 10,000. Well, with the wall mid crossovers, when the fair value dropped to a certain site, we could cross the spread, take orders there to get extra P&L. And there were empty side hint takers. I'm pretty sure if you can check the next slide, we have a whole other slide before that. Yeah, okay, then I'll get into that in a bit. So we can, So we always wanted to, in our actual execution strategy, you always try to penny around fair value, which means that one of the key marks of prosperity is that we are basically the last to put in orders in a turn, so to say. So we could always put our orders just 1 tick above the rest, 1 pip above a bid or an ask. That way we always had priority. While we gave up a little bit of profit for that, it made sure that your orders were always going to be executed first, since there was just a simple price time priority. It will first take the best price available for the order, then it will check who put in the order first. And since we were always the one to put the order in last, we basically just had to penny to get the best profits always. We also crossed the spread when the wall mid was sufficiently favorable. And when one side vanished, we had this was a hidden P&L. I will talk about this in the next slide. But for our risk adjusting, we had inventory skew, which basically means that when we get more inventory, I will speed up a little bit. When we have more inventory, we try to keep it around 60, I think, or like 70. That way we don't always hit maximum inventory capacity, so we can always market make the both sides. All right, next to get into the empty book alpha. This was a hidden alpha whenever one of the side of the books was completely empty. So, for example, there were no bid orders or no ask orders. Sometimes it happened that there would just be a random, we call it a hidden taker. It doesn't matter at what price you set it at, it would always cross the spread of 100. So basically, if one of the sides was empty, you could take the fair value, go 100 above that, and there would always be some, 10% of the time, there would be some hidden whale or something that would always take that. From the osmium alone, we got 19K extra P&L per day. It was one of the big things that distinguished the lower ranks from Prosperity from the higher ranks. This also happened in Pepperroot. Which we will get in now. As the Pepperroot will always be drifting upward, we had multiple variables to keep in mind. From the historical data, there was also always a 0.1 tick upward. There were a few market make opportunities. We used a Bellman calculation for the to calculate when it was profitable to actually decrease our inventory, since you always wanted to hold maximum inventory, since you always know it will increase. By doing that, we just modeled it that way so it was just a way to calculate when market making was, when it was beneficial to sell a bit of your inventory to be able to market make certain positions. And
there's the mathematical part if you want after the presentation.
Yeah, I think that will mainly be good for the recording, since it's too deep to get into currently. Well, our score for the first round, we got 8th on the algorithmic part and also 8th globally, since basically a lot of people were getting first manually. So it was a big surprise for us, since we didn't expect to be placed that high at the time. Right, then we go to round 2. It was basically the same as round 1. It was still the same two assets, still the ash-coated osmium and the Pepperroots. Only we could now have there was a new mechanic added. I forgot the exact name of it, but basically you could, it was called extra market access. You could bid a certain amount. Every team could bid a certain amount, and the top 50% of bidders, so the top 50% that bid the most, would get extra market access, as they called it. What the extra market access entailed was that there would be 20% more quotes available in the market book, in the order book. But if you really think about it, we asked this with the mods in the Discord server too. It only added 20% more quotes. It didn't mean that you got 20% more trades necessarily. So there would only be more competition. There would be, less spread. There would be tighter spreads, less opportunities to cross the spread. Basically, it was just not a good deal at all. So we did 0. It was a big red herring. It turned out in the results also to be just not good at all. It didn't really make sense to do it. You just created more competition for yourself. You literally pay for more competition, which, you don't want that. One thing we did see at our osmium is we hard-coded our fair value for osmium, our fair value mean reverting value, at 10,000. This was a bit of a mistake on our part, since, well, the historical data, from the historical data, you could see it was always 10,000. We didn't think much about it. We just put it there, focused on other things. Actually, I think in round 2 itself, it adjusted slightly to, I think, 9,990. So we were 10 off from the actual VAR value. So we should have used just a calculation for it, since that would just fix the whole problem. But it drifted enough so that our inventory skew actually worked against us, which made it so that we couldn't market make optimally, since our inventory would sometimes be at the wrong levels. Like, it would be full when we didn't want it to be full. So a fail-safe for that regard would have been a better addition. We did the better calculations for pepperroot. We did some better parameter adjusting, made it more robust. Just slight improvements on the pepperroot. A little fault on the osmeal on our part. It could have gotten us a bit more P&L, but oh well.
Okay, so after that, there were an intermission between this was the qualification phase, and after that, it was the final phase, where we were qualified, by the way. In this intermission, everyone's P&L was reset to 0, and we decided, even if we had 3 days of holidays, in a way, we decided to put a lot of time to analyze the past 2 rounds and to find if we could find new alphas and new edge, because we think that we could be used in the next one, that we were not, by the way. So the first one, and the only one what I want to mention, was recurring takers. What I mean by that was in the round 1, the first one, sorry, a taker on a precise day at a precise timing give no information if he will take on the next day and the same timestamp. But we found out that in the round 2, a second round, if someone take at a precise time with a precise volume, he will have a lot of chance, like 40% chance of taking back the next day, which were basically a great idea to do to use our hidden taker strategy, where we could basically clear a side, like we could clear the all volume of the bid, because we knew that someone will take on this side, and then a quote with a very, very, very large bid, very far from the fair value, and then make some P&L. But sadly, we didn't have time to implement it in the round 2, and after the round 2, it was unusable. So, there was still the result of round 2. So yeah, we are fourth globally. We are really happy of that, but we knew that it will reset after that. So we just try to still lock in the competition. So to go on the third round. Third one was a bit more complex, since it was made with on one way hydrogel pack with which was basically also a mean reverting asset, and on the other way velvet extract, which was used as an underlying for 10 call option. If you have question about call option, you can ask me after that, but I will go fast on it. For that, we first tried to do the implied volatility of the pricing of the option per day and per option, which, as the theory say, may make a smile, as you see on your screen, and try to use that to find where an option is mispriced, and then do a statistical arbitrage. But we found out that it was not really usable, since there was really few mispriced in the option. They were all really nicely following the how do we say, Black-Scholes model or other pricing model. So what we decided for the hydrogen, because I don't know if there is a slide, we kept a market making strategy with mean reverting like we did on osmium and round 2, but on Velvet, it was we decided to do pricing on the option of Velvet, and to do that we didn't use Black-Scholes since Black-Scholes assume a Brownian motion, so no drift, and we found out that Velvet fruit had a lot of mean reverting, so drift. So we use another model which is will not pronounce the name, but we will call it OU. And to price them with Monte Carlo with that, so OU Monte Carlo. We estimated with Monte Carlo the parameters that you see on the screen, the mu, the mean, theta, which is a coefficient, and sigma's volatility. And with that, we try to price more precisely the call to do kind of arbitrage, but not on the implied volatility. Option, So yeah, which is what is told here. For the result of this round, we were really happy because we went to third globally on the algorithm part. We were really happy of that, and on the fourth round, so just after that, it was kept on the same assets, but new information were given on the ID of the trader, because at this point we never knew on the backtest who you were trading against, because basically IMC Prosperity is a competition where you are trading against fake bots, but which are real Python programs. So they are programmed to do always the same thing and to react in a precise way. But we never knew before who of them we were trading to. But on the fourth round, we had the information, we have their ID. So we tried to use them to find if some of them were trading with information, if some of them were good taker, good maker, and to classify them so that we could optimize our strategy. We found out not that much of information in that. We tried to do a lot of machine learning and to find insider on the market, but it didn't really give good information and good signals to use. On the option, as I said, we tried to optimize again the Monte Carlo call option because it was a really tight run. As Jasper said before, the runs only lasted 2 days, so we had to do things really fast. And there we decided to do Monte Carlo and to optimize on a function which was the expectancy of the P&L, so the returns basically, minus 0.25 of the volatility, which is basically another way of you maybe know the how do I say the Sharpe ratio. We had 2 options: optimize on the Sharpe ratio, optimize on that, which for the one who know is a mean variance optimization, and 0.25 is risk aversion coefficient that you either you can estimate it or you can choose it if you want less or more risk. On the results, on the algorithm part, it was maybe our worst part, and also on the manual, I think it was maybe our worst round. But we learn a lot on things that don't focus on something that don't show anything, even if you think that you can find something, especially in the trader ID. If you put 10 hours in it, and after that you have nothing, just go for something else. And for the last round, I will talk about it first, and Jasper will finish it. The last round was 50 assets in 2 days. It was huge, really huge. When we saw it, we were really scared of the amount of work we would have to do. Basically, it was 10 groups of 5 assets, 10 families. We had to do a strategy in all of them, which was really, really scary at first. So we basically go for all the basics, stationary test, correlation, lead lags, etc. There were pretty no real signals apart from two families that we will talk about after. And also, since we had only 3 days of data, it was difficult to do the training, since 2 days of data for 50 assets is really few, and you have a lot of possibilities to overfit. So it was really a great challenge as well. So on the validation, we found a lot of different things that we could use, because when you just get the signals, you take it randomly, it can show a drift maybe, but you don't have any proof that it will still drift in the future. So there was a lot of statistical alpha everywhere, but the main challenge was to try to see if they were surviving from day to day. On the financial strategy stack, on the financial strategy stack, we found out one basket which were tried by the trader as the same timestamp. They were buying and selling it at the same timestamp every day, and so we found this basket, which were the most stationary of all, and we decided to do market making on it. This was maybe the best find of this. No, the second best find. We will see why just after. The second best find of the finding of the round. So since it helped us to do market making on a big ETF in a way. If you want to take the rest, Jasper, I let you.
Yeah, definitely. Just to add on, round 5 was like a big shock for us, because it hasn't really happened in any of the previous prosperities either. The standard prosperity round formula was basically just 2 or 3 assets, which you deeply analyze and try to find something hidden in there. This was like a huge shock because you had 48 hours to figure out 50 assets. That's not even an hour per asset of analyzation. So yeah, as he said, we tried machine learning and all that stuff, but it all didn't work. It all kind of collapsed out of sample. So that's also where a lot of people went into the wrong. A lot of people went into negative P&L because they thought like these huge machine neural networks could analyze all these statistical stuff between assets, and they found this correlation, that correlation, and they just went with it, but it didn't work. But to actually go on to our actual money printing alphas here, this was the most important alpha of the whole round. This printed like, I think 80% of our P&L. Basically, to explain it, in multiple assets, sometimes there would just be this weird trade pattern. Like there would just be this weird trader or something that, as you can see from the picture, the price, the fair value, would just suddenly shoot up and down with 100 or around 100. So you would always know that once that price shut down, you could always, both ways it works. You can always think, okay, if I just hold maximum inventory here, I know it will go the other way anyway. So then it goes the other way. You sell, you go to negative maximum inventory. and it goes the other way, and you constantly earn that spread. Like the jump, you can make a lot of money. You can take maximum inventory for each jump. So like each jump up and down, you get twice your maximum inventory times 100, and that just printed like, I think out of the top of my head, like 600K or something. It was like double our complete P&L from round 3 and 4 together. So that was like, this was by far the biggest find from the whole round. Besides that, we also, like I think our other teammate Dylan found this Pebbles Alpha. It basically means you had the Pebbles family. So you had like small pebbles, big pebbles, medium pebbles, large pebbles. They're all fun names like that. And all those assets together, like the whole family value, so to speak, was always 50,000. Minus just a few little spread, but it always mean reverted around 50K. So that way you could use statistical arbitrage, since you know if some of the assets go down, you know the others will go up. So you can like use arbitraging to buy this, sell that, since you know they will go towards the center anyway. And that also, I think that was like 10% of our P&L. Well, again, with the execution here, we quoted around that reservation price, the basket price. Yeah, as you can see here, it was like 670K from, well, you see here the oxygen, the family was called Oxygen Shakes. This just happened to be the family where that 100 jump alpha showed up here. As you can see, Pebbles after that, snack packs also had a pretty fun alpha. You had like snack pack strawberry, raspberry, pistache, vanilla, and chocolate. It's a really funny naming everywhere. You basically had two subfamilies. You had vanilla and chocolate. Those were like, I think they had a return correlation of minus 0.98. That means they overlapped negatively 89% of the time, which means they were basically just inverse signals with small statistical arbitrage in between. And then you had the other separate family, like those two subfamilies, they basically didn't have anything to do with each other. I really should have added a slide for this. But then you had the raspberry and strawberry. Those two were basically inverse of each other. But then the basket of raspberry and strawberry had statistical correlation against pistache. So pistache was basically sort of like minus 0.07 correlated with the basket of these two combined. So that was also a good find. It also got us a bit of money. And then on the translated panels, we got a bit of money. I think we thought we found a basket in microchips, ended up not being a basket, which you can see here, which is why it printed negative money, since, well, this was one of the things where we overfitted to the data. Yeah. It turned out not to be anything while we thought it was something. Same for sleep bots and UV visor. UV visors, we thought we found like a half a day correlation. Like you had all these different colors and they all seemed to be shifted half a day from each other. So we thought we found this lead lag correlation. It was only 0.08 correlation. So we did something, we did a small regime overlay with that. Ended up not working, too bad. But that's basically the whole matchup. It was really, really tough, but we ended up getting fourth, which was really, really tough because we had to wait 2 weeks for this result. It was really nerve-wracking. But yeah, it was really, really important for this round. Just keep it simple. Don't go to machine learning. Don't do all that AI stuff, because that's where everyone went wrong. Everyone used vibe coding, found all these statistical correlations everywhere between families, between microchips, pebbles, oxygen shakes, etc. It was all fake. It was all just in sample correlation, out of sample. Just be careful of overfitting. Then we have the manual challenges. We will go through this quickly, since our teammate Guillem mostly worked on this, and a lot of it was basically just the same. But the first round was basically just an optimization problem. Thomas will. You wanted to speak about it.
I can speak of that quickly. It was just a game theory problem. You wanted to optimize position in an order book. Someone give you an order book. You know that you put an order in the you are the last to put an order, and you then know how to maximize it. Basically, just optimization and game theory. For a lot of people, just a prompt was giving the answer. So a lot of people just add the full amount of money, which were 87,000 of XIREC. The most interesting part was the other round when there was the impact of other player. Jasper, if you want.
Yeah. And by the way, for like round one, we had like first place shared across, I think, like 200 people or something, yeah. 200 teams. It didn't really mean anything. I mean, of course, it meant anything. We are great. But no, I'm only going to specifically talk about round two. Basically, round 2 through 4 are just the same. I forgot to add a slide for round 5, but I'll speak about it a little bit then. Basically, round 2, we had a budget of 50,000. We had like a few sliders we could adjust on the website, and adjusting each slider, like allocating a bit of the budget to each slider, so to say, produced a different result. But they are divided into research, scaling, and speed. But like research and scaling, I'm pretty sure those just had formulas behind them. But speed, it was a real game theory problem, because you wanted to be in the X percentage of speed. You wanted people to not be above you, but also not too much below. Like, I think you wanted to be in the middle. I don't know from the top of my head anymore.
It was, yeah, you want to be in the median.
Yeah, you wanted to be, yeah, exactly in the middle, if possible. So here you needed to guess, what are other people going to do? Well, in previous competitions, they mainly relied on just Nash theorem, that type of modeling. That really didn't work here. So one of the great ideas we came up with was AI modeling, but in a little different sense than we're used to. We just put in like a few different prompts. Like, I think we did this like for a whole lot of models. For the graph you can see here, we put that a few different prompts 125 times into GPT 5.4. We took the output from that prompt, and we combined it into a distribution. And as you can see here, it basically just gave us this graph that when people will ask AI, if they ask AI, this is what they get. These are all the answers AI will give them. And we did this for Claude Haiku, Claude Opus 4.7, I think it was at the time only available. We did it for basically every popular model except for DeepSeek. We probably could have done better by using DeepSeek, since apparently for some reason DeepSeek gave a little different distribution we found afterwards, which is probably the reason why we didn't get first place in all of these, because the distribution was a little off. That was just, we modeled what AI would tell people to pick, which is probably what like 90% of people will do for the manual challenge, especially if they're a solo team. You don't have the time to do manual challenge and algorithmic. So you just kind of put the manual challenge into ChatGPT. What do I do here? And it all plops out this. So using this, we could basically bypass the whole game theory aspect of the manual rounds. And it turned out to work very well. We got pretty high on each round, like round 3 and 4 were slightly different, but same idea. You had to calculate something and model something, but one of the variables was modeled based on user input. So we did that for round 2, 3, and 4. We used this. It got us decent results. I'm pretty sure we didn't get first in these 3, but we got pretty close, since it's all kind of a chance thing. You still have to get lucky that you put the right value in there. Round 5, I really regret not adding a slide for that, but round 5 was basically, you got a PDF. They just put a bunch of information about a few fake assets on the PDF, like, oh, this factory blew up, or oh, this knife was too sharp and it cut through the production line, that type of stuff. It's really not just news sources, and you had to use the news sources to basically allocate money into trades. You wanted to trade for one day each of the assets based on the news you got. That was pretty fun. And they added like a few things that if you just pasted the whole thing into ChatGPT, it would give wrong answers, which I think they did on purpose to fuck with people, which luckily we noticed. But yeah, no, we basically the way we managed to solve that is they did a really similar challenge to this the previous year. So we looked at write-ups from previous year, checked how much percentage will these move if the news is like this. And we basically modeled it according to that, and we got a decent result. I'm not sure at the top of my head anymore, but it was not perfect. It was decent. And well, that's basically just what got us to our final placement there.
Yeah, so after that, we have the biggest mistake, which we already talked about it. Same on what we could have done differently. As we said, different kind of fair value, not hard-coded fair value for the OSPIUM and so on. And for the discoveries, we already talked about it just before. So thank you for your attention, everyone. And,
yeah, definitely. Thanks. I hope you guys managed to follow it all. It was a bit longer than we expected, actually.
Yeah, I think it's not a problem because this is not this is an informal kind of webinar, so I think it's not a big problem. So for now, I will read out some of the Q&A, and for some questions, I will just combine them because they are quite similar questions. And the first question is that when you approach to a new asset from scratch, how do you generate hypotheses about possible trading strategy or maybe economic mechanisms? And what are the first broad idea you test, and how can beginners learn to think this way?
Want me to take this one, Thomas?
Yeah, clearly.
All right. Well, basically, at least the way I approached it is there are a few basic things you can research about any asset, really. Is it mean reverting? Does it have a drift towards some side? This competition was really focused on market making. So how big is the spread? Can I actually market make? Is there a fair value that can be decently modeled? There are a lot of resources where you can find this kind of stuff. Specifically for Prosperity, really just look at old write-ups from previous teams from previous years. Even if you're not for Prosperity, just reading those will give you a really good idea of things you can look for. And basically, after that, it was just anytime we found anything of statistical significance, if we found orders or jumps that looked weird, we just thought of every single possibility we could think of and tested it all.
Next question is actually how do you start building trading strategy for new assets? So what subjects or courses help you to learn this? And did you already know these methods before the competition, or you learned during the whole process?
Oh, I think I can answer for both of us, Jasper. We clearly learn in the competition. Some of us in the team have done, before the competition, already done some trading bot for themselves. But I don't really know if there exists a kind of course to learn really straight trading strategy. The only advice I can tell you is always go from the basic, from the simplest model for the simplest execution thing, because if you go too hard on the very beginning, then it's very difficult in the end to have good results.
If I can add a little bit of that from my personal perspective, before Prosperity, I did this whole machine learning thing that didn't work out. It's basically just try and build anything you can think of. If you have a good idea, if you think you have a good idea, just try it. And for this competition, I really recommend just doing Prosperity 5 next year. it's really, I learned like a lot here. Even just during the preparation phase, they let you test on 2 assets, just read write-ups, test on the fake assets. It basically just got me from 0 or maybe 1 to where we ended up. It's just do competitions. They are often really good, have really good structure for this.
Yeah. Maybe a question from my own experience and also add on to this question. So I see you guys use quite a lot, like for example, Avliana Storkov, or because my study are around doing risk study around this model and also around the optimal execution of Algorithmic. So when I mentioned I reckon in your blog or post that after round 2 or 3 you found out that, for example, the AS model doesn't work anymore. You start improving on other part for OSIM. So what is your thoughts on using, let's say, the classical academic model on this kind of competition, or do you think it's more on the like real behavior of that asset, or do you think should we first apply some solid foundational model to test on?
Well,
yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I think at least the way I took it this way is basically you could definitely use as basis, because that's also we had these in-round hints from our advisors, and they basically give us hints about what the standard way to tackle these problems were. Which, for example, for round 3, for the options, they gave us Black-Scholes equation. They mentioned that in one of the hints, which is like, this is the really standard thing you learn about options, I think.
Yeah.
Well, you try it, you use it as a base, you check if it works, you make a strategy to see if it works, and well, you see that it kind of works, but it could be better or makes negative P&L. You think, okay, how could I do this? So the way I tackled this, since I don't have any background in finance whatsoever, to be honest, I Google. I just check, okay, for options trading, what kind of research are available on that? What kind of papers in our current, because we had like this time decaying assets with moving price. You kind of just look up terms like that, and most of the time there will be papers using some type of formula or thing that is probably derived from some academic base.
Mm-hmm.
If that answers your question.
Yeah. Because like I personally think this version of Prosperity is kind of special because they have the new kind of theme and also new setup for the dataset, which is like not usual as 1 to 3, which they use almost the same mechanism. So I think what I did wrong is that I first started on that academic backbone of the classical model and turned fastly into feature engineering of machine learning, which was completely the wrong direction. So I think it somehow answered my question. The next one is that to which extent did you guys use large language model, for example, Cloud Code or Codex or OpenAI, to help you guys generate strategy or ideas?
Well, it was very, very important for us because when you have only 3 or 2 days to make a strategy, you want to test fast, you want to backtest fast. So you have to, when you have an idea, you don't want to put 5 hours in mathematics and statistics on the paper to know if it works. You want to know if it works in the hour. So you just prompt Claude or other thing, I don't know. You tell him your strategy, you tell him your idea, and you want him to test it for you, to do a statistic test on it to check if it's really significant or not. But yeah, you have on such competition where you have a lot of pressure of time, you have to use LLMs at least for creating your dashboard, for creating your how do I say, the backtester and other utilities. But after on the execution of the strategy, on the deep heart of the strategy and of the program, you have to do it by your hands because LLMs just give you not that good answers. They are good for the first work, the first analysis, but for the for great results to optimize well, you have to do it by your hands as well.
Yeah, actually, regarding to data analysis, what kind of different exploratory data analysis did you guys did during the research phase?
That's a good one. Let me think a bit. It's a while ago. I think we, at least how I did it, is to also get a small add-on on that answer of AI. I basically used AI in two ways. Vibe coding is very important. You don't have the time to make it code yourself in this competition. And I used it as sort of a buddy to bounce ideas off. Like I asked it to give me some inspiration for maybe a few ideas. I bounce back my own interpretations, my own thought up stuff. And that way I try to get something out of it. But to get back to the question, man, I completely lost track of that. Sorry. Can you repeat it?
So what kind of data analysis? For example, I remember I did some imbalance and all the correlation matrix. So that kind of like exploratory data analysis in the early stages, like you research the pattern.
Oh yeah, no. We checked. First of all we ran like 10 different probes that just did standard orders at any time, which we inputted to the web tester. Since the backtester doesn't really model bot behavior that well, this is also the way that we found that hidden taker thing, because we just had a few probes that, for example, always bid X amount from fair value this round, doesn't matter what the order book gives. And suddenly we found that for some reason in the web tester, mostly it just went down because it's a bad strategy. But sometimes it had this really big spike, and then we found, oh, that's weird. Let's find out what did there. So we did a bunch of probes that tested order behavior. We tested a bunch of statistical things like return correlations. Mean reverting is a big one, a standard one also. I think we also checked, for example, in round 5, the basket thing, we found that by checking orders, like order books, they were apparently like always inputted the same way for like 80% for 8 families. So I don't really know the right way to explain it, but I think those are the main things we always checked for. If you want to add on to that, Thomas?
No, for me it was clear. We on each one we were doing analysis the same way. We are always analyzing stationary of the signal, then correlation, lead lags. It was always kind of patterns. You go from the simple analysis to the most complex one. Till you find something.
Yeah, actually, regarding to the backtesting, like personally, I reckon that, for example, there are a lot of backtester. There are 2 open source websites, 3 or 4, and the official one. Did you extend a backtester from somewhere else, or you mainly trust a PNL from the official website?
We use the official website to basically stress test our strategies to see if it actually works from our backtester. I don't know if you know it, but Jmerle, Jasper from Merle, we forked his backtester, and we basically just extended upon that. There were like in the public leaderboards, like XIREC, I think was a big one.
XIREC, and another one was a bit more terminal-ish. Website.
Okay, I haven't seen that one, but I do want to give a warning. Like we also put this in a write-up. Do we kind of be careful about those public leaderboards, because they were just made by someone in the Discord server. They were just made by a participant.
Yeah, true. It was made by one participant.
Yeah, I think it was called like Mr. Nobody or something.
Yeah, Mr. Nobody, and was from Vietnam or somewhere in Asia.
Could have been. But like, there's a bit of a security risk, guys, since you're just sending your logs to it. Like, for example, that hidden jump, that hidden taker, that was really obvious if you can see someone's log.
Yeah, true.
So just watch out with that. Don't put in your best scores. Just put in one of the probe scores so you can see the leaderboard and what other people do.
Yeah, sure.
Actually. And also for the live backtester on the website, there was a round, I think it was maybe round 3, where the part of the time on the web backtester was not relevant of the whole data. So when you tested on the internet, you were like, oh, my strategy is crap, or oh, my strategy is amazing, but it was crap. It was crap because it was not really fake data, but really non-significant data.
Yeah. There were a lot of people that were just hard coding their strategy to the thing to mess with people. You also saw that in like the Discord server itself. There are a lot of people that were just fucking with you, like, oh, I got a million P&L on my backtester. Oh, I'm so good. And it honestly got us really stressed because we thought we were missing something. We thought we were doing something wrong. And seeing all those people with like insanely huge P&Ls, like double what we had, we were like, fuck no, we're missing something. Stuff like that. So don't take it too seriously what you see in the Discord server as well.
Yeah, maybe what I can add on is that I also saw that crazy amount of P&L, and soon we realized that the P&L from the official website, it was actually based on the given data, given time set.
I think
so it's not
even always...
it's still even in sample, so they just overfit in sample.
Yeah, I think the exact formula said was always like, I don't know if it was 1 or 10%.
The first
10% of the last day of data they give.
Yeah. Let me check. Another one is that after you form a team on Discord, for example, how did you communicate effectively within the team? Because what I understand is that all 5 of you are more in this different area, different city. And how do you communicate as a team? And was Discord message helpful? Are there any hints or good idea on Discord?
Well, yeah, they have on the Discord server itself on Prosperity, they have to just literally have a channel called Find Teammates. It's really open. It's how I found our team. There's a double Thomas. All right. No, it's actually pretty funny because we have 2 from the Netherlands, me and Teun. Then you have Thomas and Guillaume. They're from Paris. And you have we have Dylan, and he lives in Pennsylvania, America. So there's actually a bit of story. We also had a few different teammates before that, which we had to say goodbye to because they were just not doing their part, and another was not eligible for the competition anyway. And we really wanted to get in the top 25. So yeah, we just basically talked with him, and he left the team. But no, we just use Discord messaging. I think it really helps because all 5 of us were really ambitious, really driven. So we all wanted to stay in contact with each other to communicate well. We all were willing to communicate well and put effort in, which is, I think, a big part of why the team worked. We all motivated each other because, well, seeing the other ones being so motivated, you get more hyped yourself. I see the question, how did you allocate teamwork, in the chat? We basically didn't. It was really funny. We had Guillaume and Dylan. They were basically doing the manual challenge. That was the only allocation we had. And the rest of us, and Dylan as well, basically just worked on our own on the algorithmic challenges. We were sharing our findings. So basically, when Thomas finds something, he posted in the Discord chat. He explained it a little bit. Then I picked that up in my strategy, try to improve it, and I find something else, and I put it in the Discord server, and that way we bounce off each other to basically iterate our strategies, improve alphas others found, as well as peer test other people's alpha. So an allocation, we basically all did everything.
Yeah. Just one last, I think we do 2 or 3 more questions and we can round this up. For example, you mentioned some hidden alpha, like the 100 jumps in round 5 and other alpha around the rounds. How did you find this alpha that you mentioned? When using LLM to generate ideas, it's usually very vague. And how do you from LLM to imply this idea to finding alpha? So like finding alpha in general. Okay.
Yeah, finding alpha was the main objective of everyone. Like you want to find the alpha that gives you the most PNL. We all want to find the pattern. And since it was a competition, we assumed that at every round, there must be an alpha or something that will give you an advantage on the other people. But apart from the round 5, where the alpha was really huge, on the other round, the alpha was just giving you like another 10% of 20% of your PNL. So you had really to start by focusing on your basic strategy, having good basics, a good foundation of your strategy, and then you can go for some more complex things and finding an alpha. And to find it was really you and your imagination. For example, we talk with the organization of the competition. They told us that in the rounds 3 and 4 there was an hidden alpha when you took the mispriced signals of every call, and when you do the spread between them, it do mean reversion signals, and you can then do arbitrage on it. But try to find it. It's not that easy.
Yeah. Then we let me see. So one question just came up. Some alpha feel like it's hard coded by MC, and so I believe you cannot local backtest and only do it in the main website. How did you trust the alpha that you tested locally or maybe found during local research?
Yeah, that's one of the big things you have to watch out for your backtester. All those hidden behaviors are not modeled in your backtester. That's why using a mix of your backtester and the actual web tester is very important, since if you want to find new things, well, you have to use the web tester. But if you just want to, as Thomas said, you have to develop your base strategy. If you just want to test your base strategy, the backtester is really nice to have for that, since it always takes like 5 minutes to upload and receive your results on the web tester. So it really just slows down iterations. But if you can use your backtester for that, that's tuck. But to find new alphas, for example, with those probes I mentioned earlier, you basically just make like a few dummy algorithms to test all kinds of behaviors. That's the type of stuff you use in your web tester to find secret things.
Yeah,
I have to say, finding the hidden alpha is also a bit of getting lucky. That's why putting more time in just helps, because if you have more attempts at finding stuff, well, statistically, you have a higher chance of finding it.
Maybe to clarify, so by the web backtester, you mean the official IMC website?
Yeah.
And by local, you mean the Jmerle, the backtester from IMC Prosperity 3, right? The original repo, and you extended.
Yeah, so we used within the team, we used the terminology backtester for our local backtester and web tester for the IMC website.
So which local backtester did you use? So the mainly
we used as baseline, we used Jmerle, but we basically expanded it a little bit.
Yeah, okay. Last question, then we'll finish up this webinar. If we want to attend, let's say compete for the next year IMC Prosperity, what is your advice on prepare? What would you do if you start again? Like, what is your thoughts when you do again? What did you do wrong in this run? And then how can we maybe utilize this whole year of time to prepare for this competition?
Well, first, the most important thing is having a good team, because on the first qualifying phase, I remember that the first team was a guy alone. His name was Vibing, if I remember well. Being alone can be good, and you can. He was basically just vibing on Cloud Code for every round.
He also got Jane Street Hong Kong offer.
Yeah, also as well.
He was insane. He's incredible.
Yeah, he's insane.
But when he found that there was 50 assets to analyze in just 2 days, I think he was really in difficulties. The first thing, you really want a good team, a team that want to work and want to put effort in it a lot of people will tell you that they want to put 8 hours a day in it, but will work only 1 or 2 hours, and will do just a few efforts. So you really want to have a solid team. You don't need to have one before the competition. You can find it on Discord. The proof is here, by the way. And after that, on the rest of the preparation, maybe Jasper, you want to add something?
Yeah, to add on to that, I think besides having a good team, it's like it helps so much because you get inspiration from each other, you get motivation for each other. You don't want to stop. If you're alone and you see that round 5, oh fuck, 50 assets, you don't want to go anymore. But I think there are 2 main tips I can give you. During the preparation phase, just get yourself familiar with the system. Just make sure you have a backtester, you have a dashboard, you have a visualizer, everything that works, so that you know that once the actual competition begins, you can just immediately start analyzing, that you don't have to do any other work besides that. And secondly, to answer what you could do in the coming year, honestly, just get yourself familiar with options, market making. Just know a little bit about those terms, how you can utilize it. Just learn a bit about finance in general, but the competition itself, it already teaches you a lot. So I would not waste too much time trying to study the conventional way, because it really just gives you that practical experience in a really good way. So as long as you're like familiar with a bit of the terminology, with the concepts behind options and market making and mean reversion and that kind of things, then you're good. Then the rest is up to you.
Yeah. So we will then cover up this webinar, and thank you again for Jasper and Thomas for sharing this amazing thoughts for IMC Prosperity 4. And I have sent their GitHub repo in the chat, and if you have more detailed questions related to each round, you can go to their repo to check it out. It's very extensive and very informative. And the recording of this webinar will also be sent to your email address, or maybe by link. So we'll figure out later on how we do it. And maybe one personal question, Jasper, can you guys share this presentation, or?
So if you can send the PowerPoint to you,
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, then we'll also send it to the people who joined this webinar today. And thank you guys again for sharing, and thank you for everyone thank you guys for the rest who joined such late for this webinar, and then we'll cover it up today.
No problem, everyone. Thank you all for your attention. Honestly, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, really fun for us.
Yeah, I actually was almost in the top 10 in the Netherlands, but nice. I ended up in my own, where 2 of my teammates was just not doing, and then it was round 4. So when the trader information came up, so it was all not easy to do. So
yeah, no, it's really tough to do it by yourself, basically.
Yeah, and especially when you try to do yourself and you analyze a lot with LLM, like using OpenAI or whatever, and then you trust the result and you over-engineer the whole machine learning pipeline, then it's not easy to do.
Yeah, it's so easy to fall to do that, because, well, in the data itself, in the historical data, it all seems so normal to do it. It all seems good until you realize, until you get the results, and suddenly it isn't.
Yeah, actually, when reading through your repo, I reckon that it's actually more simple strategy, like really pattern recognition, and then how do you control inventory based on the pattern, rather than complex algorithmic or maybe financial trading strategy.
The data that are really simple, only integer price, not a real order book, so you can't really do complex theory, complex model.
No, because I went too deep into, let's say, different level of imbalance in the order book to try to find the macro structure and do the feature engineering on top of that. But it just went not good, because the data was not having a real structure within the imbalance. Is more just synthetic data. So
yeah, I think a large issue was also that there's only 3 days of data. You don't have that much data to go on.
True. Then if you use 3 days to do even simple linear regression, then you are still in sample. It's not easy to do the actual validation on that.
Clearly.
Yeah. So I will finish up this meeting, and then again, thank you guys for sharing. And then I think if the audience have any more questions, I think Jasper and Thomas will also happy to answer if you send message to them.
Don't hesitate to add us on LinkedIn if you want.
Yeah, just Jasper Van Rant on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think our event page also have your LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, just send me a message. Feel free.
Yeah,
more than happy to help.
All right, then we'll call it a day.
All right.
Thank you guys for joining.
All right.
Have a nice evening, you all.
Have a nice evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.